Hello everyone, this is part 10 of What If Naruto Was Like Gaara, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Last time, Kiba and Hinata were now awaiting the arrival of their sensei. He tells us to be here in an hour and he's the one who's late, grumbled Kiba as he sat against Akamaru petting his head absent-mindedly. Hey, are you two going to sit there all day or are you coming along? Asked Kakashi already halfway away from the gate. Kiba and Hinata jumped up and took off after him. We're coming, Naruto, and we're gonna bring you back, thought Hinata gleefully to herself as they walked down the road. Kakashi, Kiba, and Hinata had been searching for their lost teammate for 3 days now with only his old headband to guide them. Flashback. The day I became Hokage, I found this on my desk with a note attached to it, said Tsunade holding out a standard Konoha headband. The only difference was a large slash through the center of the metal piece of the headband to show that whoever owned it no longer belonged to the village. Kiba took the headband and gave it a sniff. That's defiantly Naruto's, said Kiba looking at the headband. What did the note say? Asked Kakashi. It said, to the newest Hokage, by the time you read this my name will have probably been long forgotten, so there isn't any need to tell my name. As for what I want to say, that's simple. I was thrown out of the village because of M, which is true. Don't worry, I'm not planning any attempts on your life. Just know this, I will never return to this village, so I want you to choose a successor that has the same qualities of that the third possessed: kindness, generosity, a loving understanding, and a will of fire. That was it, said Tsunade leaning forwards on her desk. I never knew Naruto was such a deep thinker, said Kiba. Kiba, there were many things that we didn't know about Naruto, said Kakashi solemnly. End flashback. Hey Kakashi-sensei, I was just wondering how exactly are we going to convince Naruto to come back with us once we find him? Asked Kiba after they had sat down to make camp. We aren't going to be doing anything, Kiba. Hinata will, said Kakashi as a grin curled his mask. This caused Hinata to become marble, and Kiba to roll on the ground clutching his sides saying he can't breathe. Don't worry Hinata, it's just a joke. Now what we'll do is tell him he's been offered amnesty if he'll come back to the village, said Kakashi. And if I was Naruto and someone handed me something like that, I'd tell you where to go, said Kiba flatly. I know, but whatever the fifth wants, said Kakashi shrugging. Yeah, and besides she did say get him back anyway we can, right Hinata, he said sheepishly, causing her to turn to marble once again. Well, I guess it's an improvement to her fainting, said Kiba after Hinata had recovered from her paralysis. Alright Kiba, that's enough torturing Hinata for today, said Kakashi, starting a fire then pulling out a scroll. He put some chakra into the scroll. There was a puff of smoke as 3 bowls, cups, and forks appeared. Then he turned to Kiba. Why don't you and Akamaru go and find some herbs for me to make some soup, said Kakashi. Kiba and Akamaru nodded. They walked into the forest. Kakashi then turned his attention to Hinata. Hinata, I realize this is a great personal matter to you. I just want you to be aware that Naruto more than likely won't return with us, said Kakashi. Hinata hung her head. IIMMWWWELLAAWRETTHAATTTHHHEEWWWOENT what TTOOCCOOM MWWITHHHUS, said Hinata solemnly. Naruto, you don't know just how much your leaving affected her, thought Kakashi looking at the timid young woman before him. When Naruto was around she was more confident in her abilities, but now she's nothing but a depressed empty shell, thought Kakashi as he reminisced about when she was younger. And how her confidence that she'd gained from being with Naruto disappeared as her depression appeared. Sorry if that don't make sense. Suddenly a rustling sound behind them caused them both to pull out a kunai. They each took a fighting stance only to let the guards down. As Kiba appeared riding on Akamaru's back. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to frighten you, but Akamaru found this, said Kiba throwing a black shirt onto the ground. It was covered with tears. What's so significant about a black shirt? Asked Kakashi. It's got Naruto's scent on it, said Kiba. These words caused both Hinata and Kakashi to stare at the cloth in fear. Was he attacked? Thought Kakashi. Oh Naruto, please be alright, thought Hinata as tears began to form below her eyes. While the group of ninjas stared and talked about the cloth, another group was sitting not too far away from them. Is that her? Asked a man dressed in a black stealth suit, his face hidden behind a black mask. Yes, said another man wearing the same outfit. The leader of the group looked at the ninjas from far away. He was wearing a stealth suit with carbon black metal forearm guards. His face covered in the same mask as the others. The one wearing the headband over his eye is the one we must worry about the most, said the leader. His black eyes stared angrily at the ninja. Why should we fear him? Asked one of the men. Because he's Kakashi Hatake of the Sharinganai, or the copycat ninja, said the leader. His words caused a cold chill to run through the men's spines. So that's Kakashi, said one of the men after a long silence. Yes, but we won't attack them just yet, we'll wait until only one is awake, said the leader as a grin curled his mask. What does this mean, Kakashi-sensei? Asked Hinata without a single stutter, one of her few moments now a day. It doesn't mean anything, Hinata. This is the shirt he wore when he left the village, and it's entirely possible that he might have run into a wild animal before he found a new home, or he did it himself after he had an attack of rage, said Kakashi, remembering the four-tailed Kyuubi. No, I don't think so. These SS appear to be from stretching, said Kiba, examining the shirt. Maybe Naruto's stomach finally got the better of his shirt, said Kakashi, trying to lighten the mood, which was unsuccessful. I think it's time we turn in, said Kakashi, breaking the silence that followed his comment. I'll take first watch, said Kiba. Fine, wake me in 2 hours, I'll take the next watch, then Hinata will take the final watch, said Kakashi, going into his tent. Hinata nodded and walked into her own tent and went to bed, leaving only Kiba with Akamaru. The three ninjas that had hidden in bushes around the campsite, once they were sure that everyone was asleep except for Kiba and Akamaru, they made their move. They used a canister containing an invisible gas that filled the area, and within minutes Kiba and Akamaru were out like a light. The men then made their way towards the now sleeping ninjas. As they made their way towards Hinata's tent, they failed to notice the faint popping sound of Kiba turning into a log. The men were just about to open the tent and grab Hinata. You three got a death wish. It isn't wise to enter a Konoiki's tent while she's sleeping, said Kiba softly, causing the three ninja to jump out of their skins. They turned to see Kiba seated on the back of a snarling Akamaru. I'm going to give you guys 3 seconds to leave before my buddy SS you to pieces, said Kiba slyly. The three took note of the human-sized dog, then disappeared in different directions. Well, one thing about it, boy, you can't say we didn't get some excitement tonight, said Kiba as 2 silent blow gunshots were fired at them. Hitting Kiba in the end and Akamaru in the side, they both fell to the ground unconscious. Where did that come from? Were Kiba's last thoughts before he lost consciousness altogether. He awoke the next morning to the sound of Kakashi yelling for him and Akamaru to wake up. He groaned as he stretched his tensed muscles, then everything came flooding back to him. Kakashi-sensei, 3 men came, they grabbed Hinata and hit me and Akamaru with some kind of sleeping darts, said Kiba, pulling the dart from his end. I'm well aware of the situation, Kiba, but now we've got to find Hinata, said Kakashi as he'd already packed up the tents. Kiba and Akamaru jumped to their feet and began to sniff the air only to smell woods. Damn it, whoever took her used a cover scent, neither of us can smell her, said Kiba, punching a nearby tree. Calm down, Kiba, now I'm sure Hinata's fine for the time being. If there was only 3 of them they won't have gone far, said Kakashi, doing a set of hand signs. Then he pricked his thumb and slammed his palm to the ground. Summoning jutsu, he said as a small brown pug with a black snout and black rings around his eyes, that those of a raccoon. He had a small cape on his back and a Konoha headband over his ears. He then raised his right paw. Yo, Kakashi, said the dog. Hello Paku, I need you to track Hinata's scent, said Kakashi, holding a piece of cloth beneath the dog's nose. The dog took a single sniff of the cloth, then began to sniff the air. He then took off to the west. They followed him closely. Hold on a second, how can he smell Hinata's scent when neither Akamaru nor I couldn't, said Kiba. Paku's nose is 1,000 times more sensitive than even Akamaru's nose, said Kakashi. This caused a small growl to escape Akamaru. Kakashi, someone's coming towards the area where Hinata's scent is coming from, said Paku. Can you make out who it is? Asked Kakashi. No, I've never smelled this guy's scent before, said Paku. Kiba and Akamaru began to sniff the air along with Paku. It kinda smells like blood, said Kiba after several seconds. Please don't let it be Hinata's, thought Kiba as they ran deeper into the now thinning forest until they came to a small clearing. In the center of the clearing was Hinata. Tied to a pole in front of her were 5 ninjas, each one holding a different weapon of their choosing. One held a katana, another held a katana, think a half-size katana, one had a dagger in each hand, the last 2 both held a single broadsword. The oddest thing about the 5 men was they were all wearing black stealth suits in the middle of the day. One of the men holding a broadsword stepped forwards. Kakashi Hatake and young man of the Inuzuka clan, please leave the area, we only want the Hyuga, said the man. Kiba mocked like he was thinking. Nah, I don't think so, he said, then he ran towards the men only to slam into a wall of chakra. What the hell? He said, getting to his feet. We knew it was only a matter of time before you'd come to find her, so we waited that way. When you came you could take her back to your village and get her to a hospital because we don't wish to kill her, we only want her eyes, said the man, now turning to Hinata. He formed a single hand sign that released the jutsu on her. She opened her eyes with a look of absolute shock. WWWHEREAMI. She stuttered. Don't worry miss, it will all be over soon, said the man, pulling a small bag from his pocket. Then he pulled out a knife. Kiba and Kakashi could do nothing more than watch as the man inched the knife closer to her eyes that had filled with tears. Last time. Don't worry miss, it will all be over soon, said the man, pulling a small bag from his pocket. Then he pulled out a knife. Kiba and Kakashi could do nothing more than watch as the man inched the knife closer to her eyes that had filled with tears. Rasengan. Came a shout from behind the 2 ninjas as a blur ran past them, then it took the form of Jiraiya. The Rasengan caused the barrier to shatter within seconds. All 5 ninja turned to the perverted Toad Sage. He's a Sannin, said one of the men, running for his life. Yes, it is I, the Lord of the Toads, Master of Women, Lord Jiraiya, said Jiraiya, striking a pose for the remaining ninja. Lord Jiraiya, what are you doing here? Asked Kiba. I was in the area when I heard shouting, so I came to investigate, then I found you 2 pounding on a chakra barrier and I think you know the rest, said Jiraiya. As they made their way to the rest of the ninja. You'd best stay back or the girl will be ked, said the ninja with the daggers. Jiraiya crossed his arms, a smirk appeared on his face. If I were you 3 I'd head for the hills, said Jiraiya. What you fixing to take us all on, old man? Asked the ninja with the daggers while the other 3 formed a wall around him. No, I won't be the one to be taking you out, he will, said Jiraiya, pointing to the woods behind them were 2 glowing red eyes. Sunid pulled out file after file from within an old and rust cabinet looking for anything on Naruto Uzumaki. Only to come up empty thus far. Damn it, she cursed as she tossed a scroll aside. She rubbed her temples as a migraine started to flare up. A woman dressed in black robes sat across from here holding a small pig with a red shirt over its back. She brushed her dark hair from her brown eyes as she scanned the contents of a scroll before setting it off to the side. Anything, Shizune? Asked Sunid as the 20-year-old hung her head. I'm sorry Lady Sunid, I haven't been able to find anything on Naruto Uzumaki that would give us any more information than what's in the bingo book, said Shizune tiredly. Well, keep looking, I want to know why he was banished and what this power is that he holds, said Sunid. Power, said Shizune with a confused look. Yes, in his bingo profile it mentions a power, but it doesn't say what that power is, said Sunid, poring over yet another scroll. I've found something, said Shizune, handing the scroll to Lady Sunid. It was written by the 3rd, said Sunid as she began to read the scroll. Law number 1235. I hereby decree that anyone who mentions the power contained within Naruto Uzumaki will be punished severely. Well, we now know that the old man knew of Naruto's power, but it still doesn't say what that power is, said Sunid. Maybe we're looking in the wrong place, said Shizune. What do you mean? Asked Sunid. If the 3rd made the decree that any information pertaining to Naruto's hidden power be removed, I doubt he would have destroyed it. Just in case he'd need to either destroy Naruto himself or seal away his power, said Shizune. Good point, but where should we start looking now? Asked Sunid. Maybe we should take a little trip down to the Forbidden Scroll archives, said Shizune. Sunid nodded, then they cleaned up the scrolls that they'd gotten out and headed further to Anther's section of the Hokage's tower. This area was hidden behind a genjutsu that only the current Hokage would know about. Sunid released the jutsu and walked through an ancient door. Enter a room that was light from a couple of oil lamps. It was as cold as the inside of a cave. Dust lay thick upon the ancient scrolls that looked so fragile that should they see the light of day they would crumble and turn to dust within seconds. Tsunade scanned the room for anything that might look remotely like it had something to do with Naruto Uzumaki. Her eyes rested upon a scroll that looked as if it had only been recently placed there, maybe a year ago, due to how thin the dust upon it lay. She picked up the scroll that was sealed with a spiral wax stamp. She pulled it off and unrolled the scroll to find exactly what she'd been looking for. Shizune, look at this, it's a complete record of Naruto Uzumaki's life, said Tsunade, handing her assistant the scroll. Shizune then proceeded to read the scroll out loud. Naruto Uzumaki. Height 75 centimeters, out OFN, not sure if it's right or not. Birth date October 30, 1992. Profile. Naruto Uzumaki is an exceptional ninja due to the fact that he has the Kyuubi sealed within him. So he's the Kyuubi's container, interrupted Tsunade, then allowed Shizune to continue. Naruto Uzumaki at a young age was sent to an orphanage and was kicked out at the age of 4 for obvious reasons. Naruto was given an apartment to live in rent-free by a now retired owner who didn't want to keep the place up anymore. Soon after that, Naruto started to become a very avid prankster. Crimes include messing with the Hokage monument, clogging public toilets and such. Then one day Naruto Uzumaki was involved in an accident that caused him to unknowingly unleash the Kyuubi's power. This information was obtained from the child who was placed under hypnosis. It has been determined from that point on that Naruto Uzumaki became obsessed with killing all those who would dare harm him. This intent caused Naruto to kill many villages that had attempted to take the boy's life. During the Chunin exams a year ago, Naruto Uzumaki killed a fellow ninja in cold blood, named Tenten, a pupil of the late Might Guy. He's also responsible for the M of Neji Hyuga and Might Guy himself. Naruto Uzumaki is also the reason the village was able to survive the Sand Village's invasion attempt by stopping their most powerful ninja, Gaara of the Sand, also known container of Shakaku. Boy, I'd have loved to have seen that, said Tsunade, grinning as she was like this boy more by the second. During this time, Naruto is believed to have gone into a blind rage over what he thought was the death of a teammate and possible sweetheart, Hinata Hyuga, during which he allowed the Kyuubi to control his actions and the beast set to destroy anyone in his path, friend or foe. The creature annihilated 5 Sand Ninja and 1 Konoha Ninja. Because of this crime, Naruto was banished from Konoha. His current whereabouts are unknown, finished Shizune. She then rewrapped the scroll and set it back in its place. Incredible, the boy at the age of 12 killed 3 Genin, a Junin and 1 Chunin, said Tsunade. Shouldn't we be a little concerned about this? I mean, he won't be too happy to see any ninjas from the village that banished him, said Shizune. Oh, I think he'll be happy to see teammate at least, said Tsunade, grinning slightly as they made their way back to her office. I have another question, Lady Tsunade. Why did you want to find anything you could about Naruto? Asked Shizune. I want to know what ninja kind of a ninja I sent my ninjas after, said Tsunade simply as they reached her office. Sounds more like you just wanted to get out of doing your paperwork, said Shizune. This caused an unseen smirk from Tsunade to appear. The 3 ninjas backed away as fear gripped the very souls. What is that thing? Said one of them. This, my friend, is a death toad. I myself have never even seen him, and neither will you, said Jiraiya darkly as the leaves from within the forest were kicked up as if the wind was suddenly fiercest there. Now the way I see it, you've only got a few seconds left before he makes his move, so tell us why you're targeting our little Hyuga, said Jiraiya. Got to hell, shouted one of the ninja, then his head left his body as if it were SD with an invisible sword. Then blood shot from another's chest. A third was SD from his head to his gonads in half, leaving only the ninja with the daggers and one of the broadsword ninja. They raised the preferred weapons in a defensive stance, guarding each other's backs, only to feel blood coming from both their chests. They looked down to see holes that were perfectly in line with each other, then they both fell to the ground. There was a snapping sound as the ropes around Hinata fell to the ground, then a small pop and a large plume of smoke appeared from behind the trees. Incredible, said a otherwise speechless Kiba. That is why you never want to mess with a Sannin, said Kakashi as a smirk curled his mask. Now that that's been taken care of, what are you 3 doing out here? Asked Jiraiya. We're looking for Naruto, said Kakashi. Ah, then I'm not alone, I too am looking for the boy, although it probably for different reasons, said Jiraiya. The council has offered Naruto amnesty if he returns to the village to help with the war against the sound, said Kakashi as Jiraiya laughed his head off. If Naruto hears that, he's going to KU3 where you stand, said Jiraiya choking in laughter. That is what we told Lady Tsunade, but the council has unanimously decided that they want Naruto back as their secret weapon against the sound, said Kakashi. Well then I guess I'll join you in your search, said Jiraiya holding out a cage that contained what appeared to be a very tiny egg. Jiraiya, is that what I think it is, said Kakashi, his single visible eye filled with amazement. Yep, just found the mother a little while ago. Now I hope you've got something of his to stick in here, said Jiraiya. We've got his old headband and we've also got his shirt. We hope he's alright, said Kiba showing Jiraiya the items. Jiraiya, sir, what kind of EEGG is that? Asked Hinata, who had to walk around the now decaying boss. It's a Baikochu beetle egg. Once it hatches it'll lead us right to Naruto, said Jiraiya, placing Naruto's headband within the cage. Now then, as for this shirt, it was Naruto's but he wasn't attacked if that's what you're thinking, said Jiraiya examining the shirt. How can you be sure? Asked Hinata anxiously. Because if he was attacked by a ninja there would be blood on the shirt, and if he were attacked by a wild animal it is most likely the tears would be jagged rather than clean sped like they are. The only thing that I can think of is he outgrew it, said Jiraiya flatly. Suddenly a loud boom of thunder clapped the area. The ninjas quickly set up camp and waited out the rain and the soon to hatch beetle. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.